Swat Valley, Pakistan. October 9, 2012. A school bus is making its way home through the streets of Mingora. Inside, teenage girls laugh and talk about their day. The bus stops. Two men board. Bearded. Armed. Taliban fighters. One of them asks, "Who is Malala?" Silence. The girls look at each other. Terrified, the man raises his gun, points it at a 15-year-old girl, and fires. Point-blank range. The bullet enters above her left eye. Her name is Malala Yousafzai, and she was shot for going to school. This is not just a story about surviving an assassination attempt. This is a story about refusing to be silenced. This is about an 11-year-old girl who blogged about wanting an education when the Taliban said girls couldn't learn. This is about being shot in the head and coming back stronger. This is about becoming the youngest Nobel Peace Prize winner in history at age 17. This is Malala Yousafzai's complete story. And it begins in one of the most beautiful and dangerous places on earth. Mingora, Swat Valley, Pakistan. July 12, 1997. Malala Yousafzai is born. Her father, Ziauddin Yousafzai, is a school teacher and activist. He runs a chain of schools in Swat Valley. He believes deeply in education for all children, including girls. In Pakistan, this is controversial. Many families don't send daughters to school. Girls are expected to stay home, marry young, raise children. But Ziauddin names his daughter after Malala of Maiwand, a Pashtun folk hero who inspired troops to victory. He wants his daughter to be brave, to speak out, to lead. Young Malala grows up in her father's schools. She loves learning, reads constantly, asks questions, debates with her father about politics, education, justice. She's bright, articulate, confident in ways that make some people uncomfortable. In my culture, Malala later writes, girls are not encouraged to speak. But my father encouraged me. He treated me as special. And then in 2007, everything changes. The Taliban take control of Swat Valley. 2007 to 2009, the Pakistani Taliban, Tehrik-i-Taliban Pakistan, seize control of Swat Valley. They impose strict Sharia law, ban music, ban television, ban DVDs, public floggings for those who disobey, and they ban girls from going to school. Taliban fighters go from school to school. They burn buildings, destroy classrooms, threaten teachers. January 2009, the Taliban issue an edict. All girls' schools in Swat Valley must close. Immediately, hundreds of schools shut down. Thousands of girls lose access to education overnight. Malala is 11 years old. She watches her friends leave school, some crying, some accepting it as inevitable. But Malala doesn't accept it. A BBC reporter reaches out to Ziauddin. They want someone to write a blog, a diary, about life under Taliban rule. From a student's perspective, no adult will do it. Too dangerous. The Taliban have already killed activists and journalists. But Malala volunteers. At age 11, she writes under a pseudonym, Gul Makai. She describes daily life, hearing gunshots at night, seeing dead bodies in the square, wanting to go to school but being forbidden. January 3, 2009, her first entry. I am afraid. I had a terrible dream yesterday with military helicopters and the Taliban. I have had such dreams since the launch of the military operation in Swat. She writes about her fear, her anger, her hope that education will return. The blog goes viral. People around the world read about this brave girl writing from Taliban territory. 2009. The Pakistani military launches an operation to retake Swat Valley. The Taliban are pushed back. Schools reopen. Malala returns to school. And she stops being anonymous. The New York Times makes a documentary about her. She appears on national Pakistani television. She's interviewed, photographed, named. Everyone knows who Malala is now, including the Taliban. In private, Taliban commanders discuss her. She's become a symbol of resistance, of girls' education, of defying their authority. She should be silenced, they say. Malala's father receives death threats, anonymous letters, phone calls. Stop your daughter from speaking, or we will. Friends urge Ziauddin to flee, to take Malala somewhere safe, away from Swat Valley. But Malala refuses. If I leave, the Taliban win. They want to scare us into silence. I won't be silenced. She's 14 years old. October 9, 2012. A Tuesday. Malala, now 15, finishes taking an exam at school. She boards the school bus with her classmates. The bus drives through Mingora. Girls chat, laugh. It's an ordinary day. Then the bus stops. 2 Taliban fighters board. One of them asks, "Who is Malala?" The girls are terrified. Some look at Malala. She doesn't respond. The gunman doesn't need confirmation. He recognizes her. He raises his pistol, aims at her head, and fires. The bullet enters above Malala's left eye, travels through her skull, down into her shoulder. Malala slumps forward. Blood everywhere. Her friends scream. The gunmen flee. The bus driver races to the hospital. Malala is rushed to a hospital in Mingora, then transferred to Peshawar. The best trauma surgeons in Pakistan work on her. The damage is catastrophic. The bullet went through her brain, shattered her skull, damaged her facial nerve. She's in a coma, not expected to survive. The news spreads worldwide. Taliban shoot girl for wanting education. The world is horrified. Pakistan's government arranges for Malala to be airlifted to Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Birmingham, England. The best neurosurgeons in the world take over her care. For days, she's in critical condition. Machines breathe for her. Her family can only pray. The Taliban release a statement. "We targeted her because she's spreading Western culture and speaking against us. We will target her again." October 16th, 2012. 1 week after the shooting. Malala wakes up. She's in a hospital in England. Doesn't know where she is. Can't speak. There's a tube in her throat. Can't move the left side of her face. She asks for her father in sign language. When he arrives, she writes on paper, "Why don't I feel any pain?" The doctors explain she was shot in the head by the Taliban. She nearly died. The medical team performs multiple surgeries. Reconstruct her skull with a titanium plate. Repair the damaged facial nerve, partially successful. Insert a cochlear implant for her damaged hearing. She spends months in the hospital. Physical therapy, speech therapy, relearning how to walk properly, how to write. The left side of her face remains partially paralyzed. She'll never smile the same way again. Most people who survive what Malala survived would retreat. Hide. Stay silent. Malala does the opposite. February 2013. For months after the shooting, Malala gives her first interview from her hospital bed. "They thought bullets would silence us," she says. But they failed. July 12th, 2013. Malala's 16th birthday. She's invited to speak at the United Nations headquarters in New York. 500 young people from around the world gather to hear her. Malala walks to the podium, still recovering, face partially paralyzed, wearing a shawl that belonged to Benazir Bhutto, another Pakistani woman assassinated for her activism. And she delivers one of the most powerful speeches of the 21st century. Honorable UN Secretary General, respected President of the General Assembly, dear brothers and sisters, they thought that the bullets would silence us. But they failed. The terrorists thought they would change my aims and stop my ambitions. But nothing changed in my life except this. Weakness, fear, and hopelessness died. Strength, power, and courage was born. I am not against anyone. Neither am I here to speak in terms of personal revenge against the Taliban or any other terrorist group. I am here to speak for the right of education for every child. Dear friends, on the 9th of October, 2012, the Taliban shot me on the left side of my forehead. They shot my friends too. They thought that the bullets would silence us. But they failed. One child, one teacher, one book, and one pen can change the world. Education is the only solution. The room erupts. Standing ovation. People are crying. The girl the Taliban tried to kill is now speaking to the entire world. October 10th, 2014. 2 years and 1 day after the shooting. The Norwegian Nobel Committee makes an announcement. Malala Yousafzai has won the Nobel Peace Prize. At age 17, she becomes the youngest Nobel laureate in history. She shares the prize with Kailash Satyarthi, an Indian child rights activist. Together they represent the struggle for children's rights in South Asia. The Nobel Committee statement. Despite her youth, Malala Yousafzai has already fought for several years for the right of girls to education, and has shown by example that children and young people, too, can contribute to improving their own situations. Malala accepts the prize, uses the platform to amplify her message. 130 million girls worldwide are out of school. They deserve education. They deserve opportunity. This award is not just for me, Malala says. It is for those forgotten children who want education. Malala doesn't just give speeches. She acts. In 2013, she co-founded the Malala Fund with her father. Mission: ensure every girl has 12 years of free, safe, quality education. The fund works in countries where girls face the biggest barriers. Pakistan, where it all started. Afghanistan, where Taliban still control regions. Nigeria, where Boko Haram kidnaps schoolgirls. Syrian refugee camps. India, Brazil, and more. The fund supports local education activists. Builds schools. Advocates for policy changes. Amplifies girls' voices. By 2024, the Malala Fund has invested over $60 million in girls' education programs and influenced policy changes affecting millions of girls. But Malala knows money alone won't fix the problem. The world needs to care. 2017. Malala enrolls at Oxford University. Studies philosophy, politics, and economics, the same program that produced many world leaders. She lives in student housing. Attends lectures. Studies in libraries. Just another student, except she's the youngest Nobel laureate and one of the most famous women in the world. Malala graduates from Oxford with her degree. During a global pandemic, via Zoom, wearing a bathrobe in her apartment. Hard to express my joy and gratitude right now as I completed my degree at Oxford. She tweets with photos of her in the bathrobe. The world loves her normalcy. November 2021. Malala marries Asir Malik, a manager for the Pakistan Cricket Board, in a small Islamic ceremony in Birmingham. Some criticize her. Some Muslims say she's become too Western. Some feminists question why she married at all. Malala responds with grace. If you want to have a person in your life, why not? She lives life on her own terms. Always has. Today, Malala is 27 years old. She continues her work through the Malala Fund, produces documentaries, writes books, advocates globally. But the fight is far from over. In August 2021, the Taliban retake Afghanistan, immediately ban girls from secondary school. Millions of girls lose access to education overnight, just like Swat Valley in 2009. Malala speaks out, demands action. We cannot abandon Afghan girls, she says. In Pakistan, where she was shot, girls still face barriers. In many parts of the world, educating girls is still considered unnecessary. Dangerous. Western. Beat. 130 million girls worldwide remain out of school. Child marriage. Poverty. Conflict. Cultural barriers. The obstacles are immense. But Malala refuses to give up. I tell my story not because it is unique, she says, but because it is the story of many girls. From a girl who blogged under a pseudonym to the youngest Nobel laureate. From an assassination attempt to addressing the United Nations. From a Pakistani valley to the world stage. From "Who is Malala?" to everyone knowing exactly who Malala is. The Taliban tried to silence one girl because she wanted an education. Instead, they created the world's most powerful voice for girls' education. They shot her in the head. She came back with a Nobel Prize. One child, one teacher, one book, one pen can change the world. Education is the only solution. Education first.